Hello, and thank you for clicking on my video. I'm Jenny Elleray, and I'm the other half of Freedom Thinking. I'm the less visible half over the last couple of years because my main role has been looking after Lucia, our little 18-month-old daughter. So I wanted to make a video today, really just to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me, and speak a little bit about the impact the Three Principles and the Three Principles community has had on my life. So I came across this at 23 years old. I'd been struggling on and off with anxiety, depression, eating disorders since about 13, 14. Previous to that, I was a very sort of shy little girl and found life very overwhelming. And I've heard it described before as it seemed like everyone else knew how to do life and I didn't. So I found it very difficult to kind of communicate. I found it very difficult to be around big groups of people. Life felt terrifying. And I guess I managed that through messing around with my weight and different times in teenage years, dabbling with drugs and alcohol and anything I could kind of use to kind of change my state, make myself feel less uneasy. At 23 years old, I went on a training course in London with my sister and my cousin and my aunt. We all kind of went on my sister's recommendation. And none of us really knew what to expect. I kind of went along to spend some time with my sister because I hadn't seen her for a while and just kind of went quite open-minded. And on that first day, I kind of just stuck to my seat. It was a gentleman called Dr. Roger Mills, who I'll forever be grateful to, and a lady called Margaret Opio, who were hosting the day. And as they shared and told stories and talked about Sydney Banks, they showed videos of this understanding going out into communities, the prison systems. I don't know, like, I can't put into words because there weren't any words. There was this deep feeling that kind of arose within me of peace and well-being and quiet. And for somebody that lived in a frantic, busy mind, that quiet just did something for me. And that night we had to drive back to Colchester from London, and then we were back in the next day. It was a 3-day training. And I would just say, like, over those few days, this deep sense of trust and knowing, but it was all completely wordless. It was this deep feeling. And when I got home after the end of the event, my parents were kind of like, "What's wrong with you? Like, where have you gone?" Because I came back a completely different person. And I wasn't loud, I wasn't extrovert, I couldn't really speak about it because they wanted to know what happened, what have you learned about? And I was like, I don't know, I can't put it into words. But I think there's something to me about the way that Roger shared was just so honest and so he knew that there's health within every single being on this planet. We just didn't know it. And suddenly his faith and his kind of knowing spoke to something within me. And I often say I got introduced to my very best teacher on that training, and that was within me. And that's the good news, because I used to hate the fact that I took my mind with me. And then suddenly this deeper mind, this deeper intelligence was something I realized I got to take with me everywhere I went. It never left. And over the years, I've been so lucky, and I'm incredibly grateful to every single teacher that I've come across in the Three Principles, whether I've met them in person or whether it be through Zoom calls. I've had so much kindness and love shown to me throughout. It's been incredible. And in 2009, myself and my ex-husband Rudy decided, like, this is so amazing, why does no one know about it? So we created the first kind of online resource of videos called threeprinciplesmovies.com. And that had videos that we filmed in America of different facilitators, different trainings, transformational stories. We went into a business, we went into the prison system. So we got to see people from all walks of life learning about this same understanding, this same simple understanding, this same message, and then their lives transform. And it was some of the stories, I'm going to try and find some of the clips and put them up, because unfortunately Three Principal Movies has since been taken down and the videos aren't available. I'm going to try and get some of them to be available again if I can. But the faith that I found within myself and knew to be true, I got to see that same thing come alive in other people, on trainings, in videos. And I recognize there's something universal that completely transforms people and transforms lives. And it wasn't based in time, it wasn't based in effort, it wasn't based in age, religion. It was just based in life, in this stuff that we call life. And I think seeing somebody in a homeless shelter just sit there and say that she didn't want to be videoed, and then suddenly say she had something she wanted to share. And she said, when her teacher Anita, this amazing lady Anita, who was sharing with them, who's sadly passed away now, but she'd been someone that was homeless herself, and then came across this and then wanted to share. So she used to share within the homeless shelters in Santa Clara County in America. And the way that she described it was like a light bulb went off in my brain and everything was different. And the other people in the group were just saying they knew that Anita loved them, and they knew that Anita knew that they had everything within themselves to transform their lives, to change their lives, to move out of the poverty that they'd lived in and the addiction cycles and all of those things. So I feel like one of the luckiest people alive to have stumbled across this at 23, and then to have had the experience of going out to America, meeting people, filming people. People would literally sit in front of the camera and just like bare their souls to us and tell their story. And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget any of the interviews that we did. And not all of them ended up being able to edit, and we had different problems with hard drives and all kinds of things. We kind of, people were like, these videographers from England, and we weren't videographers, we were just learning. But somehow we managed to kind of create this incredible resource that it touched people all around the world. We used to get emails from random places just saying, oh, I saw that video. And the beautiful thing about it was that you might watch one video and it wouldn't speak to you, and you'd think, that makes no sense. And then you'd watch a different video and you'd think, something in that speaks to me. And I think the thing that I've come to realize so often is it's not even what is said, it's where it's coming from. And it sounds such a strange thing. And I remember hearing on my first course, don't listen to my words, just listen like this is music. And I was thinking, what on earth? But I get it now, that there's a space in which exists within life, within you, within me, within nature, within all of it, that's the same, and it's untouchable, unbreakable presence. It's love. And as we listen and someone's speaking from that space, I feel like our minds start to quiet and we almost start to sort of resonate with the person, and that place within us is visible. You recognize it's not something that emerges, it's not something that you get, it's something that is already there. And when you recognize or find out or realize that what you've always been looking for is already within you, it already exists, like the search is over. And I don't know, throughout my time being around this, I've had so many misunderstandings of, well, if you understand the principles, then you don't need to do yoga, you don't need to do this, you don't need to do that, you don't. And then I've realized, once you get a sense of what the principles is pointing to, it's like an invitation to just be free, to experience, to feel, to explore. And in 2012 I went out to India, I did a yoga course, which I absolutely loved. I love listening to Three Principles teachers. I've listened to non-dual teachers, or people that class themselves as non-dual. I've listened to all kinds of things, and I've read all kinds of books, and I've had complete time off where I haven't done anything. But what I've realized is so easily people can create a concept or an idea of the Three Principles as a thing, as a way of living. You're either doing the Three Principles or you're not doing the Three Principles. So I would just like to I kind of extend the invitation to people that if you're learning about this, please, if at any point you start to feel restricted or like there's a way that you should be living, know that that's a concept or an idea of somebody else or within your own mind. That's not what Sid Banks was pointing to. That's not what I'm trying to point to. I want to point you to a space within you that is wise, intelligent, just divine, and that space knows how to do your life. And if you fancy a yoga course, or you fancy a roller coaster ride, or whatever, you can do what you want. And I think that's what I hope people hear. And I don't know if Dave has said in his videos, but we're not experts. We don't want anyone kind of looking up to us or putting us in pedestals. We're very human. But I do believe we've kind of stumbled across an understanding in our lifetimes that is so fundamental and so simple and so sacred that we can't not share it. And that's why we do this. Like, I wouldn't say I'm a natural presenter. Like, I can still get quite nervous before videos. I can get nervous before my one-to-one work. You know, it doesn't always feel like it comes naturally to me, but as soon as I start speaking and trying to point people in this direction, my little self, my little ego character becomes less important, and it's about a deeper, bigger, grander message. And that's what I hope people get a sense and feel for in these videos. And I know I'm not I don't watch the news, I don't listen to the radio, but I know there's some pretty heavy stuff going on in the world at the moment. And I pray and I ask and for peace and for love and for people, for humanity. I pray that we can find a way forward, recognizing each other as the same. And I sit kind of in gratitude for my life and where I am, and I have an open heart for anyone who's going through suffering. And yeah, I just feel like without this understanding, you know, as a young person, I used to get so bogged down by the trauma and the horrificness of some of the things that happen in the world. And I've been kind of able to keep my own bearings within all kinds of things within my own life and within the wider world through understanding that it doesn't mean I don't get upset. It doesn't mean that I don't have empathy. It doesn't mean that at times I haven't been floored by different circumstances, but that buoyancy, that innate resilience, that ability to find center again, remember center, is something that I kind of grow an appreciation for, because I used to spend weeks, months worrying about the world, what was going to happen, the planet, the environment, people, myself. And I didn't realize what a disservice I almost did for the gift I actually had, in terms of right now, I am blessed with the life that I have. And I was back then, I just didn't know it. But I thought somehow me suffering would help others who are suffering. And now I feel like my call to surface is help more and more people wake up to who you are, because when you wake up to who you are, you don't want to hurt people. You don't see division, you don't see hatred, you don't have judgment in that way. You see through the eyes of love. And I know it sounds really hippie, but you see more through the eyes of love. And I think that's what the world needs more of right now. So if any of our videos or events that we do can help anybody start to fall in love with themselves, find their true self, wake up to what they really, really are, then I feel like that's my way of kind of helping change the world for the better. So thank you for watching and listening to my ramblings, and I hope to make another video soon.